Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CCISO Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the exam with focused explanations and practical context. Budgeting is one of the most critical responsibilities of the CISO, serving as the bridge between cybersecurity strategy and enterprise resource allocation. The CISO owns the development and justification of the security program's financial needs and must ensure that the proposed budget supports the organization's broader strategy and risk posture. This includes articulating how financial resources will support control implementation, regulatory compliance, security operations, and staffing. The CISO plays a dual role, translating technical and operational needs into language that resonates with business leaders and ensuring that business risk is appropriately factored into funding decisions. Budgeting also gives the CISO the opportunity to communicate the value of security investments, not only in terms of cost, but also in terms of reduced risk, improved resilience, and strategic enablement. A well-planned budget strengthens the credibility of the CISO and enhances the maturity of the security program. A comprehensive security budget typically includes several major components. Personnel expenses cover salaries, benefits, training, and recruitment for the security team. Given that skilled talent is both scarce and essential, this often represents one of the largest categories. Technology costs encompass tools such as endpoint protection, SIEMs, vulnerability scanners, cloud security platforms, and associated licenses and maintenance contracts. Services may include managed security service providers, legal and compliance consultants, penetration testers, and external auditors. Compliance expenses must also be factored in, especially for organizations subject to regulatory frameworks. This includes audit preparation, certification efforts, and ongoing control validation. Lastly, business continuity and incident response planning require funding for tabletop exercises, backup systems, and forensic capabilities. Each of these components supports different aspects of the security function, but all must align with program goals and enterprise risk management priorities. Budgeting takes place in cycles that should align with the organization's fiscal planning calendar. Most organizations conduct annual budgeting, during which the CISO must submit proposals well in advance of the approval cycle. Some also conduct quarterly reforecasting or operate on a rolling budget model, allowing for greater flexibility and responsiveness. Effective budgeting requires inputs from multiple sources, including the security roadmap, risk assessments, audit findings, and control performance reviews. Coordination with departments such as IT, finance, procurement, and HR is necessary to align assumptions, understand shared initiatives, and prevent duplicative funding requests. Budget planning must begin early to allow time for negotiation, review, and executive approval. Waiting until the last minute often results in constrained funding and missed opportunities. The CSIS's proactive engagement with this cycle is essential for success. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. There are several approaches to strategic budget planning, and the right model often depends on organizational culture and maturity. A top-down approach means the overall budget is set by senior leadership, and the CISO must allocate resources within those boundaries. A bottom-up model allows the CISO to build the budget based on project needs, staffing models, and cost projections. Zero-based budgeting requires justifying every line item from scratch, regardless of historical spending. While resource-intensive, it supports clarity and alignment. Risk-based budgeting focuses on allocating funds to initiatives with the highest potential to reduce enterprise risk. This approach aligns well with executive priorities and resonates with boards. Many organizations use hybrid models, combining risk prioritization with financial constraints and top-down targets. Understanding the organization's budgeting culture helps the CSISO select the appropriate strategy and present funding requests effectively. Prioritizing security spending is both an art and a science. The CISO must align expenditures with identified business risks, compliance deadlines, and threat trends. Cost-benefit analysis helps compare investment options and justify decisions. Projects tied to audit findings, regulatory deadlines, or contractual obligations typically receive higher priority. Foundational capabilities such as identity and access management, secure configuration baselines, and centralized monitoring often deliver more value than advanced or niche tools. Avoiding tool sprawl, Deploying too many overlapping technologies improves efficiency and reduces operational burden. Vendor rationalization and platform consolidation are key tactics to manage cost and reduce complexity. Ultimately, each spending decision should be framed in terms of how it reduces risk, supports compliance, or improves resilience in measurable ways. Justifying and communicating budget requests is where many CISOs succeed or fail. Budget proposals should be presented in business terms, not technical jargon. Instead of focusing on tool features, highlight the strategic outcomes the investment enables, such as securing customer data, supporting regulatory compliance, or reducing risk exposure. Use metrics to support claims, including return on investment, total cost of ownership, or risk reduction per dollar spent. Build clear, concise executive summaries that highlight priorities, outcomes, and alignment with business objectives. Prepare to defend each major line item with data, real-world scenarios, and benchmarks. Demonstrate alignment with industry frameworks or maturity models to show that investments are based on recognized standards. Confidence, clarity, and strategic alignment are essential to securing funding. In many cases, the CCISO must work within budget constraints. This means planning for partial funding, phased execution, or reprioritization. Deferred initiatives must be documented and tracked, often using risk acceptance frameworks to capture residual exposure. Cost sharing with IT, compliance, or business units can make some initiatives more viable. For example, a cloud security investment might be co-funded with the cloud migration budget. Priority should be given to controls with regulatory or contractual implications or those offering a high return on risk reduction. Budgets should remain flexible to accommodate emerging threats or business changes. Agility in reprioritization helps maintain program momentum and relevance even when funding is limited. Tracking and reporting on budget performance are just as important as initial planning. Monthly or quarterly reviews should compare actual spend to forecasts, flagging deviations early. Budget tracking must be linked to KPIs associated with funded initiatives, such as the number of systems brought under compliance, the reduction in incident response time, or the closure of audit findings. Underperforming or over-budget initiatives should be escalated and adjusted. Dashboards and performance summaries help keep executives informed and engaged. Tying financial performance to governance processes and audit preparation ensures that budget decisions are traceable and defensible. It also builds trust with finance and leadership by showing that the security program is accountable for results. Preparing for budget audits and financial reviews requires rigorous documentation. The CISO must maintain records of assumptions used in the budget, decision-making criteria, and justification for expenditures. Each cost should be traceable to a control objective, roadmap milestone, or regulatory requirement. Vendor selection and procurement decisions must be supported by clear documentation, including business cases, quotes, and approval records. Actual spend must align with the organization's policies and compliance expectations. If variances occur, the CISO must be ready to explain the reasons and describe corrective actions. Audit readiness in budgeting reinforces program credibility and protects the CISO during governance reviews or financial audits. The CACIO exam includes a strong emphasis on budgeting fundamentals. Terminology such as CAPEX, OPEX, ROI, TCO, and cost center will appear throughout exam questions. Scenario-based questions may present a budget request or funding constraint and ask the candidate to determine the best approach. Understanding how to align budget requests with strategy, risk, compliance, and operational needs is essential. Candidates must demonstrate how the CISO balances limited resources, prioritizes spending, and communicates funding needs to executive leadership. The exam also covers cross-dome topics, how budgeting affects incident response capabilities, audit readiness, vendor procurement, and compliance efforts. Mastery of budgeting confirms that the CISO is ready to lead at the executive level, turning financial planning into strategic influence. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber CCISO Prepcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com.